So this summer I'm interning at the Cook Political Report, which is an independent, nonpartisan organization that maintains a very active website and produces a weekly newsletter that basically deals with all things related to elections. And so I've been working with our House of Representatives editor, David Wasserman, and a lot of the stuff that I've been doing it's still really early in the cycle, since it's an off election year, it's only 2015. But I'm looking at the early movements of a lot of different candidates in various House districts throughout the country. So it's interesting to see how different candidates are, whether they've entered the race or what their plans are once they do enter the race, and the various movements that they've been making on the ground as they prepare their run, what they're saying about a number of different issues. And so I've just been trying to get a grasp on how races are shaping up in individual districts so far across the country. A career in public service would be extremely valuable, as this internship has revealed to me. It's often what we do here. It's easy to get caught up on elections themselves, which is what we really focus on the most. But I think it's also important to remember that elections are also just a means to a larger end. The end isn't the election in itself, but by winning an election and by campaigning, you really become more responsive to your constituents themselves. And you need to remember that what you do here, it's not all about the election, it's what you do after the election and your chance to serve your constituents and make a meaningful difference throughout the country. And I think this internship has reinforced many of the values of public service for me. I guess currently we're mired in a period of very little bipartisanship and little cooperation between two parties themselves. And you do get breakthroughs where there is cooperation and there's plenty of bipartisanship. At the same time, there are a lot of issues that parties are still very far away from. And I guess I have two reactions to that. One is that, as I've learned here and as my work at school as well, is that this country often moves in very long cycles. And I think that in the past, we've gone through similar periods like this before, where the parties have been disagreeing on a number of issues, and they eventually emerge from that disagreement to produce eras of very much bipartisanship. So that's number one. And number two, also, I think, is just working here and being at school as well. I've just been around so many young people who are very, very smart, very engaged, very passionate about politics, and they're certainly not turned off at all by what's going on in our federal government. And I think that as we move forward, this young generation will become more and more engaged, and they'll actually be able to make, by banding together and setting their minds to things, they'll be able to make a lasting difference that will transform politics for the better.